Hey everyone, welcome back to Torment, Tides of Numenera. We are in the Bloom, and we're still just trying to get our bearings, trying to figure out what is going on. We talked to Ioxu here, who is apparently an acquaintance of Matkina's from the last time she spent time in the Bloom. Let's see... He's got a lot of things to see here, but he mentioned that he was having some problems with the cultists outside. So let's see what we can do to help there. Okay, looks like we've got a few cultists. So let's see what we can do. We wait your intercession with Ioxu, but our god is in pain, so we will not wait forever. If the Bloom is really a god, why does it need human help at all? The need is plain. Can you look upon the swollen flesh of that house and tell me the poison doesn't fester inside? Did the Bloom ask for your help? It spoke to me of its need. I heard its voice in my head. So your god is too weak and impotent to deal with Ioxu itself. Is that what you're saying? Ugh, this is a tough sell. Anybody better? Wow, nobody's better. Okay. And let's just try to max this out. Oh, I was successful.
I'll remember that.
No, I would never. The Devourer would surely break through his defenses on his own. He licks his lip, glancing at his followers out of the corners of his eyes. Perhaps you're right. Give it time, sweet time, for Ioxu's defenses to crumble. Then the Bloom will dissolve him bit by bit. A more satisfying end than brute violence, yes. We will watch and wait, and I shall record his end in scripture when it comes. Okay, farewell.
Yes.
Although if he's still waiting outside, I don't know if that really helps any. The Bloom cultists have agreed to leave you alone. Doubts rise within. Extraordinary claims demand proof. He steps to the door and peers outside. He waits for a moment, closes the door, and then turns back to you. They had regarded this home and Ioxu, but their clamor ended. Tight smiles color their faces, but they no longer do they hurl imprecations. My gratitude, I believe, is in order. Accept this, let no doubt stand. An encephalon of subjugating revivification. Okay. So what is this? Nanospirits reanimate the muscles of a humanoid corpse to fight by your side. Creepy.
Yes. Now.
Yeah, sometimes in this game, when we help people, it kind of feels like... I mean, not that I was gonna help those cultists, but I'm never quite sure if I'm helping the right people. Okay, so there are a lot of places for us to go. And I think we want to work our way up to this trade post, so... So we're just going to pick a direction and start seeing what is what.
Look out below! Above! Sideways!
So we got caravans. The lad and I just guard the wagon. Our employers are the two merchants over there. And I guess the Anines are like pack animals. Okay, we've got some merchants here. As you approach, you see two well-dressed merchants in a heated conversation with a wiry man who is wearing an assortment of odd-looking leathers and hides. Upon seeing you, the wiry fellow shoos the merchants away and turns in your direction. Instead of feet, you notice that he has two hand-like appendages, fashioned from metal and synth. Indeed, both his legs have been replaced by these artificial arms that appear remarkably flexible. Looking for the trade post? Used to be in there, till the bloom got hungry and ate it. At least I think that's what happened. Never can tell with this big old sack of guts we call home. Were there people in there? Do they need help? One of the merchants spits, not anymore. Can't say for sure they're dead. A lot of times the bloom just moves one of her parts someplace else. So there ought to be a maw that can take you there. Finding it, though, that'd be the trick. Or that's the trick. Name's Gristler, by the way. Bloom Guide, Explorer, and Scout. 3 times eaten by the bloom and still intact. Well, mostly. He wiggles the artificial fingers on one of his feet. Why is that wagon just standing there? You'd better ask these 2 fellows here. See, they were supposed to be heading into the Ascension by way of the old trade post, but then the bloom decided to eat the trade post, so now they're stuck. I keep telling them to look on the bright side. At least they weren't inside the trade post when it got eaten, but they won't hear it. Never seen a couple of fellows so determined to be miserable. Anyway, until they decide what to do next, we're staying put, and since they're paying my wage, I do what they tell me. Where would I go to look for a maw? Used to be I could answer that question easy enough. I'd tell you just where to find them and where they lead and what to feed them, but something's got Bloom all riled up and she's opening and closing maws however she likes. So if I was you, I'd try the darkest corners of this gut bag I could find. Dank and nasty places, that's where maws like to rip themselves into being. The slums are a good place to start. Little Nihilesh, Kyurgen Swamp, Kyurgen Slump, foul little holes like that. Tell me a little bit more about the slums. He lets out a long puff of air, and you're fairly certain that his breath is the same color as the fetid smoke emitted by the bloom itself. Certainly it smells near as bad. Well now, from where we are right here, you can find your way to 3 of them. Little Nihilesh, that's where all them funny-looking mutants live. Kyurgen Slump, where folks go to get their bodies hacked or healed. An old slave block. He makes a sour face. Folk don't go there at all, unless they're Murdens, but Murdens don't really count as folk. Okay, a little Nihilesh. First of all, it ain't so little. I'd guess it's bigger than the other slums by half. It used to be called something else before the mutants moved in, but nobody remembers the old name. See, the mutants got here through a maw. They used to come and go as they pleased, trading goods from here and there, making all matters of shins. Somebody should have warned them that maws were ornery beasts, and they'd never do the same thing for too long. Sure enough, one day it up and closed, and all the mutants on this side got trapped in the bloom, been stuck here ever since. Funny little thing about little Nihilesh, folk on the outside of the bloom like to pitch their rubbish in here, straight into the nearest tube or sphincter, but no matter where they dump their trash, it all finds its way to little Nihilesh. Don't know how or why, guess that's just where the bloom likes to keep it. And what about Kyurgen Slump? That's where I get fitted with these. He taps the metal and synth arms that double as his legs. A couple of nice fellows helped me out when the bloom ate my legs. They were a little odd, I admit, and lacking in social graces, kept calling me by a number rather than my name. Nowadays the slump is under the protection of a bunch of soldier types, deserters I hear, from some battle that never ends. Imagine that, fighting in an endless battle. Should have thought that through before they signed up, that's what I say. That's a really good point. It used to be a prison for slaves back in the day of Chila the Great. They carved it out of bloom flesh with saws that spat solid light and blades that weren't all there. Folks say that's where Chila was chained up and where her legend was born. Wouldn't know it anymore. It's all feathers and filth there now. Ever since the Murdens moved in, they're a pack of dirty thieves, and if you get too close to one of them, your thoughts get all staticky. Makes it hard to do just about anything I hear. It's because they talk to each other with their minds, but I guess they can't do it quiet and polite. Okay, let's see. So the bloom is acting strangely. Do you know why? She's hungry for something, or someone. I can hear it in their voices, just like when a maw wants to eat somebody, only this time it's the whole bloom. This sort of thing used to scare me, it did. Probably still should. Okay. If you ever need advice about the bloom, come and find me again. Let's see what these merchants have to say. 2 merchants turn towards you. One is a heavy-set human with a large head and a wide, bony face. The others are particularly thin and sickly-looking Vargellan. Its head crest is decorated with symbols that are unknown to you. Both are dressed in rich clothing. Hope you weren't planning to visit the Ascension, friend. The only road was in there. What happened here? As we approach, the entrance grows teeth. The teeth get big and turn into a great jaw. Down it comes, swift and cruel. All this happens fast. The time it takes to walk 5 steps. The bloom's good for 3 things, friend. Farting up smoke to burn our eyes, pissing foul water for us to drink, and eating whoever and whatever it likes. You're head of the trade post? Where else? The Ascension has its own perils, but it's blessed with a bounty of useful things. Unlike this place, try getting anyone to pay for a hunk of quivering bloom flesh. We traded crystals from Ascension Place. Good business there, bad business here. Keeps giving me options to say I'm trying to get to Ascension, but I don't know why I'm trying to get to Ascension. It's a world made of crystal like this. All things in Ascension are made of crystal, living things too. It's a cold and dark place. The sun is too small in the sky. We don't venture far from the gate. Nobody does if they're smart. Do you have anything to trade? Not yet. We offer salts and dyes and alchemical powders to our contact in the Ascension. Whatever it is, absorbs what it likes and gives us crystalline artifacts in return. If we ever manage to get in there, then I might have something to trade. You could try that flesh merchant on the next platform. What's his name again? Sundermun. His name is Sundermun. 2 men he is, but also 1. Okay. Let's see. Let's check out our journal. So Dracogen. Oh, that's why. Dracogen told me to follow the caravan route from Memovira's courtyard to the trade post. That's where I'll find a maw that will take me to the Ascension. He wanted me to... Oh, so that's right. I was trying to find the Ascension to get this magmatic amulet for Dracogen so that he would let me go and talk to the Memovira, who is the leader of this place. We'll see. Okay. So, yeah, I thought I was going to go up and around, but apparently that's not going to happen. So,
something to do.
So we'll go up here instead. What do we got? What is this thing? A blister of flesh protrudes from the ground, an irritated, angry pustule. It is almost entirely opaque, but you see the faintest hints of movement within. Examine it. You study the movement within the cyst more closely, as if in response to your curiosity, the shadow of a hand claws at the interior and vanishes. Someone or something is trapped inside. You feel something pressing against your mind, a sharp presence like the thought of pain, thrusting its experiences into your imagination. As your fingers brush the flesh of the cyst, the memories come pouring in, flooding your thoughts with emotions of lives you've never lived, stories from countless lives lost in the bloom. You reach out for a random memory in the swirling maelstrom, and its particulars become immediately shockingly clear. After what seems like hours of flight, you think you may have found your way to elude the older girls. You swallowed your pride and buried yourself in the mounded refuse of Little Nihilish, the smell of rotting food and putrid meat filling your nose. Better this than to suffer the abuse they're likely to hand out. Buried as you are, you can only hear them as they approach. Where did that little rhubarb go? Demands one. She's standing right in front of you, and she's breathing hard. From the rage in her voice, you know that the beating will be a savage one. At least 4 of them are looking for you right now. But you know, deep down, that if you don't stand up to them at some point, this will just keep happening. Leap out of the garbage heap and attack. You try to burst from the refuge, imagining a dramatic entrance that will leave them stunned for a moment as you wreak your vengeance on the ringleader. What happens instead is that as you draw yourself in to leap at them, you see movement in the pile and they're ready for you, even if you hadn't slipped on the moldering food. Your dramatic leap looks more like an accidental fall into your tormentor's arms. You're slick with grease and rotten food, and they have a hard time holding you. For one moment you have a chance to break free and run, where you can stand and fight and show them that you're not scared of them. Fight. You lash out and your fist actually connects with the ringleader's face, rocking her head back. The blood that spills from her nose is dark and hot, but the rage in her eyes is cold and dead. She thrusts you back into the garbage, and as you struggle to regain your feet, one of her allies, a girl with snakes for fingers, sees that hate and tries to pull her friend back. Please, Mirkal, not for this one. Oh yes, for this one, and if you don't help, you're next. The four of them get to work. An eternity later, they stop. They spit on you as they leave. You try to move, but a sharp and grinding pain in your leg shrills agony into your mind. Your eyes have swollen shut, your teeth are broken, and your shattered fingers are incapable of even the barest movement. Darkness closes over you. You return to your own mind with the death of your host, knowing that what you saw, what you felt was true. The life you lived was full, rich, and ended here in the bloom. Your host's remaining moments were saturated with pain. Your muscles still twitch with the memory of agony, and your suffering bleeds into the cyst, loosening its fleshy fibers. It appears that the bloom has sealed something within the cyst, and your agony is the key that will set it loose. Let's see. I'm just gonna kind of... Okay. I don't know what's happening there. Maybe if we come when we're hurt, it'll open up and give us something. Okay, so we've got... appear to be some dye merchants here. Friendly-looking youth is dipping strips of cured bloom flesh into colored dye. He looks up as you approach, revealing startling yellow eyes. Hello, sir. Are you interested in our wares? They're handcrafted and one of a kind. Sure. Great, you should talk to my elder. He handles the actual trading. What kind of work do you do here? I'm Sunderman's apprentice. That means I do whatever he tells me, really. Mostly harvesting usable bloom flesh. It's always an adventure, flesh harvesting, though my elder tells me I'm going to be away on a bigger adventure soon. Can't wait. Seems like you know the bloom pretty well. Are there any malls nearby? I know of one for sure in Kyurgeon Slump. There's been a really long time. Been there a really long time. I hear it's one... There's one in the old slave block too, but I don't go in there because of the Murdens, so I can't be sure. Isn't it dangerous to harvest bloom flesh? Not really. People only fear the bloom when they don't understand it. I've lived here all my life, and nothing's ever happened to me. Oh, but it will, youngster. It will. You keep saying that, but you won't say when. If I did, you might try to avoid it. Okay. Well, let me talk to your elder there. Near a display of goods that all appear to be made of bloom flesh, either tanned, beaten, carved, or cured, stands an old man who looks fairly tanned, beaten, carved, and cured himself. He also has startling yellow eyes, just like his apprentice. Hello! Admiring my stock? You won't find anything else like it, not even here in the bloom. All handcrafted and one of a kind. What do you got? Bloom flesh armor. That's kind of cool. So 7 armor, 5 resistance. I would get minus 15% on esoteric attacks because I've got armor or whatever. I think I would not get the minus 3 might or speed. And at the start of each turn, a tentacle latches onto a nearby enemy and does trans-dimensional damage. Ooh. That's pretty cool. I don't have anywhere near enough money for it. Let's see, we've got some sort of dagger-like weapon. Does 7 damage plus 3 per effort applied. What's that? Sonic disruption. Oh, on critical hits confer controlled. Forced to fight on the caster's side, active 1 round. That's pretty good. This would be pretty good on Matkina. I'm very tempted to get that, but let's see what else we got. Got like an area of attack weapon. We've got some healing. Another artifact that adds speed edge. Actually, let's go ahead and get this.
Deadly.
Let's see. I probably should have looked at this before, but let's just double check and make sure it'll work. It's a light melee weapon, which is what she uses, and it's speed based, which is what she uses, so yeah. Wow, and it hardly cost us anything at all. That's pretty good. Let me just make sure. Let's see, character sheet. She's trained in light weapons, that's what that was, and she uses speed, so that should do a little bit more damage, and yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, the only downside being that she usually kills what she hits. So, won't be able to control it, but let's see. Some questions for you. Who wouldn't, when confronted with such unusual merchandise, ask away? Couldn't help but notice you and your apprentice look very much alike. Well spotted, well spotted. And why would you speculate that is, sir? He's your son? Heh, wrong. We are, in fact, one and the same person. I see you don't believe me, so let me explain. One day soon, my younger self will be walking along when the bloom will open a maw beneath him, and he'll tumble into another world, years in the past. Or maybe the journey to the past will be when he tries to come back, whatever the case. It'll take him many decades and worlds to travel back here. I envy him the experiences he will have, but thank him for the memories. Doesn't knowing what will happen change the future? He frowns, puzzled. Why? I knew it was coming, but it hasn't changed my past. It's like a dangerous journey. Shouldn't you warn yourself? I did, but I didn't listen. Besides, when I think about all the stories I've filled my head with, it's hard to remember exactly what I said about when the big day is, but it's coming soon. Interesting. Guys, you bet that cyst over there? That thing? Been here as long as I can remember. I usually forget it's even there. Thanks for reminding me, he shudders. Always figure the bloom must have captured something in there it thinks is dangerous, and what the bloom thinks is dangerous I don't particularly care to meet. Okay. What exactly do you sell here? Bloom flesh, my friend, bloom flesh. We craft everything out of it. Clothing, armor, building materials, jerky, you name it. Bloom cultists in particular love wrapping themselves in bloom flesh. But everybody buys from us, even the Murdens. You might say our business is booming. He raises his eyebrows at you expectantly. Ha, his apprentice laughs. Good one, Sunderman. Thanks, Sunderman. I liked it myself when I first heard it. Okay. What do you know about the bloom cultists? Got some odd notions, those folk. They worship the bloom as a deity, and they aren't afraid of being eaten. Crazy, of course, but they're my best customers, so I just smile and nod when they natter on about it. Tell me about some of those memories or experiences you had and will have. My first journey was to a desert world where the natives looked like humanoid spiders. It's the best way I know how to describe them. They spoke with their minds and in a combination of colors that danced between their fingers. It was difficult to get them to understand me, but we managed to find a way. I'm lucky they didn't eat me. When I gained their trust, I worked with them as a guide and hunter. I'd flush out their prey, and they'd snare it with their great chemical lattices. But one was always looking at me like he wanted to get a taste of me, and one day he made a move. I ran and found the bloom's maw still open, but time bent, and I came back in the past. The one you want to watch is Gilwildril. Okay. Thanks for your time, friend. Let's see. So there's the Kyurgen Swamp in the old slave block. Shrine of Sela, no, Nihilish. Let's look. There were some thugs that were bothering a refugee down there. 2 thugs, Delny and Vrung. They're hiding in Little Nihilish. I should track them down and have a talk with them. That is down here. So I think that's what we're going to do first.
And it's done.
'Cause she was nice to us, and, you know, shouldn't go beating up
Below! Above!
beating up people just because you can.
Sideways!
Enormous statue of a woman wielding a hammer stands here, its lower half lost to the shadow in the depths of the bloom. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I guess that's exactly what that is.
Doing it now.
Let's see, what do we got here? little nihilish. Okay, and we have Walks Without Fear here as well. At first you're not sure if your eyes are playing tricks on you. The semi-transparent man shuffles and struts before you, his body fading into and out of incorporeality. His once fine clothes have rotted away, his long beard looks to be a host to any number of small vermin, and his eye sockets are disturbingly empty. Matkina studies the man, mentally subtracting and adding his features, suddenly gives a sharp intake of breath. She whispers, "Can it be?" Somehow the man hones in directly on your face, and you have an unnerving feeling that he can see more than what's on the surface. The staring sockets are deep and cavernous, as if they contain depths and space beyond the confines of his skull. He says nothing to you. Matkina, who is this man? This is the old Memovira, don't you see it? This man knows all the secrets of the bloom. He was tied to it, bonded to it. I worked with him for years, alongside that bitch who occupies the position now. When he disappeared, she threw me out. I looked for him a long time. Sir? Sir, it's Matkina. You called me the White Death, remember? He turns his cavernous eye sockets to her, and they study her for a long time, considering. Life begins to seep into his face, and a small smile creeps across his lips. I think I remember, but memories are lost in the telling. Better to tell it now, and have the story remembered. You say I'm the old Memovira. We must speak of the new to understand my tale. The new Memovira, pah. What has she done worth mentioning? Who trembles at her voice? Tell me, who fears her steps? Who among her people wouldn't slip a blade into her back? Oh, she did for me, it's true, her and her coterie. But I had loyal retainers to the end, loyalty and fear, like a fist. She may have taken my place, but she'll never match my rule. If the bloom hadn't turned against me after a decade of power, I'd be there still. But she dragged me to the heart of the beast and let it sift through my mind, fed it all my crimes, and then she left me here. There. Ask your questions of me while the fragments of memory still linger. Ask now and make the questions count. What happened in the heart of the bloom? She brought me through a new maw, an entry into the heart I'd never seen. It was then that I knew what she intended, and we fought. But she was fast and strong, and I was old and drunk. She didn't kill me, though, oh no. She wanted me to suffer for the crime of raising her up. She bound me there, and she stood above me and reveled in my pain as the bloom sucked away everything that I was. I'll say this for her, she was better at malice than I ever was. Tell me about your reign as the Memovira. I lived with my knife in my hand. I never lost my love for its kiss. I took what I wanted and I shared the best with my crew. But I had laws, mind you, laws and structures that kept the merchants pouring through the bloom. No sense in scaring off the easy meat, no need to be greedy. They said I was weak, but that was because they didn't know how strong I truly was, and that's why the bitch came for me. Too grasping she was. Matkina says, do you recall when we came down on the Repcod and their trade in sense stealers? He plugged their leader in his own machine and the feedback melted his eyes, and then the rest of them. You said something to the bloom and the floor wrapped around their ankles, and you had us go back to feed them for years until their legs atrophied away. Wow, that actually sounds pretty mouthful to me. Matkina, my White Death, is that you? I do remember that. I remember that. You were magnificent that day. Quick, ask another question. How did the new Memovira unseat you? She knew the bloom was angry with me. She told me she'd been below and had seen something that she thought might explain why I lost my bond. I didn't know she'd hidden her killers around the bloom, or that she was the one who ruined the shipments or driven off the citizens. She put her muscle into play and I never even saw it, and she took me to the heart of the bloom, he swallows. Matkina says when you went down, her thugs moved in. They killed everyone in the fortress who had sworn for you. They hunted us down in the belly of the bloom. They cast us through the maws under unfamiliar suns. I fled into the city with a few of your lieutenants, and we had to kill some of our friends to get through the gates. And once we settled in up there, she started hunting us in the city too. She cast aside years of tradition to hunt me. I'd have sworn loyalty when you died. Nothing you could have done. Nothing. She was bold and fast. What do you think of the new Memovira? The memories slip, like skittering down a tunnel as I grab at them. They go. No. Stop them. They're me. I know his pain. I know. Who are you? So he does not know anymore. Okay. You came from the depths of the bloom. What did you see down there? Yeah, he doesn't remember. Oh, the bloom reaches through dimensions and across realities. What did I see? I saw a vast beating heart. I traveled through the skeins of the bloom's arteries and its viscera. I stood in open maws and looked out across alien landscapes where lost sailors mourn for their home, or crystal fields glitter under distant stars. I walked through the slave block where the near great Sheila staged her revolution. What would you know? Tell me of the heart. A great chamber, a place where the bloom spawns and devours its voices, where its whispers gather in conclave, where its intelligence is strongest and sharpest. I woke there, and I knew it for my master. Well, let's see. What are you doing here? I walk through this larger part of me and let it guide my steps. The weapons of humans mean nothing to this shape, and the paths of the blooms open for me. I am a part of the bloom. It is part of me. I have been to places others have never seen, and I have seen worlds that lie waiting beyond the maws. Matkina, by the Black Three, her voice is quiet, reverent. I never dreamed the power in this place. If I could tame it, make its strength mine. Would you sacrifice centuries of life for a few years of this? You saw the price. You don't know the strength my boss had. I didn't know what he had. You could work wonders with that strength. You could destroy everyone who ever opposed you. But what you have to go through to get it, the price isn't worth it. You don't get it, do you? For a time, he was one of the most powerful people in the world, and few even knew who he was. He burned bright and fast. But you're right, if we survive this, it's a skist trade. Fine, you've convinced me. Let's make sure we stop the sorrow, yeah? Come on, and farewell to you, sir. Okay. Let's talk to... Who are these folks? Arachi. Laskar. These three humanoids wear intricately carved armor that make them look like undersea dwellers of legend. You cannot recall having seen the material form for which they are shaped either. Though the suits are bulky, their wearers move with a strange and fluid grace. You might have mistaken them for monsters, but their leader is unhelmed and appears human. She has close-cropped hair, an angular face, and jaws clenched, as if she were subconsciously chewing on a problem. As you approach, she gives you an irritated glance. You address the Jemadar Arechi. Speak what you need, or be gone.
Updated my journal.
She reconsiders her words. Ordinarily, hospitality is ours. Forgive this one. The maw to our anchorage is closed. She indicates the hideous tentacled mouth that lies dead in the center of the platform. Another way we must find. Have you word of open maws that lead to our station? Beseech you even, trapped here with the supplies we purchased for our compatriots. Can you answer some questions? Naturally, this one will seek to provide informative truth. Tell me about your anchorage. All the refuge we have ever known. We await the ship that will end our mission and take us home. Captain Janner commands us. If you find them all and speak to her, perhaps she can tell you more. How did you come to be trapped here? Left the anchorage where our ancestors have served for centuries. Sought resupply as we have so many times before. Upon return, the way was closed. Worried now that comrades may suffer without us. I'll see what I can do. Okay. And... oh, these guys are... okay. Alright. Oh, and I passed a shrine up here, too. Shrine of Sheila. We'll check that out next time, too. Or sometime. Let's go and check out... Little Nihilith. We'll keep our eyes out for our maws. So this is the junk pile of the bloom. As you enter the slum, you nearly crash into a small confrontation. 5 mutants surround 3 guards dressed in a distinctive garb of the Memovira's enforcers. This must be one of Bruska's lost patrols. Well, we were also looking for a patrol. Before you hear them say a word, you already know the mood here is ugly and it's likely to turn to violence soon. The mutant, who looks like his face is full of spores or insect legs, leans towards a disgusted, terrified human and says, "You're leaving a trail of fear piss. Who'd pay you for protection?" Memovira's sergeant, one of the other guards, less phased, pushes the mutants back. "It ain't fear piss, it's spit you're spraying when you talk. Why don't you go hatch your eggs by burying your face in a pillow? Real people are conducting business here." Second mutant, one who'd been observing the fracas, noticeably bristles, thorns literally emerging from his arms, shoulders, and face, and he pushes forward. "Every damned one of you looks the same. 2 arms, 2 legs, no surprises. You want to collect our money? I'll make you eat it, and your friends can collect it from your rotting shit." The mutant punctuates each sentence with increasingly vicious stab of his finger. You can feel a bloody tide rising, and if you wish to intervene, the clock is winding down. Uh-oh. Gain the mutants' trust, or choose a side by talking to both sides' leaders. The mutants will attack the guards if they get angry enough. Oh, this is cool. So this is a crisis of, this is a crisis where combat's actually not happening yet. Okay, so let's go and talk to, well, I don't know if Alagurn's going to talk to anybody. So we've got some mutants, and we've got some guards. Yeah, let's try to calm things down a little bit. However, Eridus, not great at calming things down, so we're just gonna let him chill. I'm gonna go talk to Mr. Spiny Mutant. Hello, sir. What do you want, human? You went in on the long due bloodletting? You better talk fast, we're itching to get started. Okay, so I can consume an action. Ask the mutant leader how this situation started. They came to collect their protection money for the Memovira, but the Memovira can't enforce anything. She's weak. Everyone knows it. Look at these poor specimens. They can't even protect themselves. Skepticism and distrust mar the mutants' already unpleasant faces. They don't know or trust you. Fair enough. Alagurn, how about you go talk to the sergeant there? Ask how this situation started. Suggest the Memovira's forces come to check on. We'll come to check on the patrol shortly. Ask how this situation got started. We make this route every month. We're collectors. It's our job to bring in revenues for the Memovira from our loyal subjects, but they laid in wait for us and got the jump on us as we walked in a little Nihilish. The thugs seem calm for men whose lives are being threatened. They recognize the words, but they don't seem to believe they're in much danger. Yeah, okay. How about you come over here and help talk? Let's see. Urge the mutants to keep the Memovira's patrol alive. Yeah, she's not very persuasive, though. Now let's see what we can do. Yep. Why? What good does good does keeping them alive do us? Mutants grumble at you, cursing your intervention. Yeah. Okay. Memovira's goons aren't welcome here. Back off, mutant. This doesn't end well for you. Okay, let's just have Eridus talk to the sergeant and get some basic information. Ask what the Memovira does with his collections. She pays us mostly, and the mercenaries who come through the malls, and the bribes to Sage's Cliffs officials, but she's been falling further and further behind on those payments. Like as not, she'll want vengeance if we fail. She needs this money, and she'll use the nastiest tricks to get it back. Mutant leader shifts his weight as the sergeant speaks, but does not retreat. The thugs are alert, but they're not frightened. They don't see you. Okay. Shoot, I can't even use my flex skill. Okay. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, I'm not going to pay to let these guys go. So ask how the Memovira might retaliate. She might have some tricks hidden away, then again maybe not. We're willing to risk it to be free of these villains. Am I not right, friends? The atmosphere of rage and hate seems to be fading. You even see one of the mutants smile. At least it looks like a smile. That's good, right? Let's try talking to him again. No, I don't have an action, so... Okay, let's
Ready.
kind of get between them. Okay, Alagurn. Suggest that the Memovira's enforcers will come to check on the patrol shortly. Okay. Ah, yes, of course, the Memovira keeps a close eye on her patrols. The money is important to her operation. She sends backup to make sure none of it goes missing. They're bloody-minded bastards, too. The mutants' muscles tense as they lean away. They exchange worried glances. The thugs are alert, but they're not frightened. Yeah. Okay. And Matkina. Let's see. Ask who's in charge here. You'd recognize Garkoto if you saw it. Our prince lives in the tank in the center of Little Nihilesht, not big on mobility, our prince. Eyes of the mutants no longer glower at you, instead they seem almost intrigued. Okay. Take your poxy hides and get gone, human. You want to answer the Memovira? Okay. Maybe we should be talking to some of these others. Can't. Okay. Let's talk to the sergeant one last time. Nope, can't do that. Okay, I'm kind of running out of things to do here. Ask what kind of leader Garkoto is. Garkoto is wise, he's crafty, thinks in circles and in mazes to find the best results for our people. Garkoto almost never takes direct action, says that hasty choices become their own legacy. With a few more well-chosen words, you might be able to avert bloodshed here today. Okay. Well, it's probably going to be up to Matkina to do that, but let's try with Alagurn. Remind the mutants that Garkoto would likely not approve of starting a war with the Memovira. Yeah, there we go. Good job, Alagurn. Well, the prince did tell us to keep to ourselves, heads down like. Garkoto may be angry if these goons die. Mutant's eyes soften slightly, but his thorny fists remain clenched. Mutants no longer look to their thorny leader, they're watching you. They want to avoid violence. Okay, well, what about the sergeant here? Nope. Okay, what about the mutant? Yep. We're not paying a thin shin more. Just give us what we're owed and we'll be on our way. Okay, let's talk to... Yeah, I wasn't convinced that... still not convinced that Eridus is the guy to be talking. Okay. Persuade the mutants to let the humans go.
Making a note.
Mutant's leader looks at his fellows and back at you, and then he makes some calculations. As you say, he replies, scowling at his companions. He says to him, "These are deaths we can save for another time. No point in bloodshed with outsiders witnessing." They look to you, and some unspoken agreement fills their eyes. Memovira, Sergeant, my thanks. We won't forget this. Much obliged for your help. The Memovira will hear of this. So, it looks like we have avoided unnecessary bloodshed, although I don't know for how long we've avoided it. But this seems like a good place to stop for now. Next time we will go and look around this little Nihilish, and oh, looks like there's a Maw down there. And we'll see what we can find. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care.